blameless. Okay, before I get into what blame is, I'd like to introduce you the Indian model of how they divide the types of things, categories. Okay, in India, especially in Hinduism, we generally divide stuff into three. Okay, and the common name given for the three types or the three qualities are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Okay, so Tamas basically means darkness, misunderstanding, slothfulness, inertia, laziness, prevarication, postponement. You can imagine all this now. Right? I've given you ecosystem of the word Tamas. Tamas is typically a dullness, okay, and darkness. And then the next step to Tamas is what is called as Rajas. Rajas means passion. Rajas means ambition. Rajas means tremendous energy. But this energy is typically rooted in selfishness, in trying to forward my agenda even at the cost of others, type of a thing. So that's Rajas for you. And that's energy, that is passion. And then the third one is called Sattva, which is a beautiful state of harmony. It is a state of sweetness. It is a state of understanding. It is a state of power. It is a state of peace. It is a state of tranquility. So you understand these three states. You can actually look at this entire web of life in these three wonderful buckets, which our Sanatana Dharma puts everything. Qualities have been divided into three. Food has been divided into three. The way in which you repose faith in anything is divided into these three. And the reason why I do work is divided into these three. Everything is in these three. It's called gunatrayam. These three wonderful gunas. Bhagavan also talks about it in Bhagavad Gita. Generally, when we are, truly inundated with problems, and it becomes a little bit of an elongated or prolonged, sort of an issue with, say, stress and with negativity in the mind, the first affliction of the mind would be in the tamasic place. And tamasic affliction would be self-blame, self-pity, trying to cut us off from others, and feeling helpless. So that state of, forced helplessness, where actually we are not helpless, but we sort of think that we are helpless. And so we feel very hopeless, and we feel very cut off. We feel, what is the use of doing anything, type of a thing. And it typically gets into the state of a self-blame. And that state is a state of tamas. And for us to come out of that state, we need to infuse a little bit of a passion, even though it's not preferable on the long run. We need to infuse a little bit of a passion called rajas, where the blame will shift from self to others. We become very acrid, we become very caustic, you see. And we tend to blame everybody else for the situation I am in. And that's actually a better state than self-blame or self-pity. At least we are reaching out to others. At least the mind, instead of constantly bottling up its emotion, is at least, painting out at others. Certainly not preferable, but certainly preferable than a state of complete, assumed helplessness, or a state of complete isolation. It tends to pin the blame on others. We may even pin the blame on people or things which absolutely have no role to play in the state which we are in. But that's how we sort of slowly, paint out our emotions. So it's called Rajasic state. And the third state of Sattva is, instead of blaming at all, rather productively focus on what is the feeling I am feeling right now. And the feeling leads me to the need. And hence I try to understand, this is what I'm feeling. I'm feeling very sad. I'm feeling very disappointed or frustrated. And slowly that feeling will lead us to a need. I maybe needed respect from people, or maybe I needed some more recognition for the efforts I took. It can be anything, case to case. And slowly I start moving away from blame into trying to process and trying to sense what I'm feeling and what I am needing, which is expressing itself in form of these feelings. Okay, so that's the ideal state we need to be in. That's when our human potential can be fully actualized. That's when we can really lead a life of a joyful human being. And so typically remember these three states. So tamasic state is self-blame. And a Rajasic state is blaming others or blaming circumstances for the various feelings I have in me. And the Sattvic state is understanding that my feelings are caused by my needs, and those needs are not met by others. So, what do I do next? You understand this? The moment I think my feelings are caused by something outside of me, I'm already in a state of helplessness because feelings are very precious. But then, remember this, sensing my feelings are because of my unmet or met needs, and those needs are dependent on others. So instead of directly saying you caused this feeling in me, which is pakka blame, I process it and understand you are not the cause exactly. You are merely a trigger because you did something which did not fulfill my needs, and my needs cause my feelings. When my needs are met, I get positive feelings. When my needs are not met, I get what is typically called as a negative feeling. When I have a need to be recognized, when I have a need for people to sort of appreciate what I've done to them, etc., and they do that, I feel very happy, I feel very warm. But when my need is not met, I get either disappointment or frustration or anxious and stuff like that. But then to think that that person or that situation or that event created a feeling in me, by definition makes me helpless. Are you able to follow this? The moment I say you caused this feeling in me, I'm already feeling helpless because I think the remote control of my feelings is beyond me, and that's a classic definition of helplessness, which is not true, which is not true at all. The feelings are caused by my needs, and the needs, of course, we are not islands, needed to be met by events, people, situations, etc. And I can, the moment I pin the cause of my feeling to a person, I don't have a solution. I can only argue with the person. I can only create my relationship to go from bad to worse. But the moment I process my feeling as a result of an unmet need, I can think intelligently. An obvious question is, what can I do to get that need met? Or what do I need to do to get that need met? And that would be an intelligent way to approach next steps in my life. And that would make me clearly think and hence go into the state of Sattva where I am clear. Remember, Tamas is darkness, Rajas is shining light on a wrong place, and Sattva is shining the light in the right place. I realize that my needs causes my feeling. Needs are met, I am happy. Needs are not met, I am unhappy. What do I do to influence or to encourage or to get other people or other things to come and get my need met? That is what life is all about. If I don't have any unmet needs, imagine the life would be so boring that it won't be really worth living at all in a very mundane, normal plane. So the reason why we find life exciting is we always have some unmet needs, you see. And the whole life's journey is worth going because there is always a bucket list of unmet needs. And once you take care of my top 3 needs, another 3 needs come into play. And then I work on those needs, and then 3 more or 10 more. And that's what makes life interesting, you see. And that is the reason why I need to understand the criticality of needs, and I need to understand its relationship with feelings, because life itself is that and that alone. If you want me to define what life is all about a journey of meeting my defined unfulfilled need. That's what life is all about at any point of time. And that is the reason why I need to be sattvic in my approach towards life. So when it comes to blaming, it is perfectly okay when we are really in a very dark spot, mentally. That's a state when the person thinks nobody can help me, nothing can be done. There is no sense of what the psychologists call as agency, that I am not the one controlling what happens around me, is a very, very dark place to be. And then they find that my life and I are totally disconnected. I have no control over my life. And that's a very dark place to be. And that place has to come out to saying, you are the reason for my mess out here. And when people hear that and go to psychologists, they say, At least my child, at least it was silent and it was silently ruminating. Now this child is screaming at me. The psychologist will rejoice, saying that's very good progress because they have moved from tamas to rajas. Though it does not appear to be progress commonsensically, actually it is progress. You see, the psychologists would actually say that if people start blaming others from blaming their own self, that's improvement, because that model which Hindus understand is you're moved from tamas to rajas. And that's not the place to be, obviously, but it's an improvement, but that's not the final resting place. They would say, next, let us get away from blame and try to throw light within and understand what you're feeling, what you are needing. Once you start focusing your attention on what I need and what I feel, you won't have the space for you to start blaming others. You see, mind thankfully can hold only one thought at a time. That's a gift from Bhagavan. Imagine a mind which can have 10 thoughts at a time. We would all go crazy. Or maybe that will be the new normal. I don't know. But thankfully, mind can hold only one thought at a day, at any given point of time. Which means if you are focusing on what am I feeling and what am I needing, you cannot focus on blame. You cannot blame and start processing your needs in the same token. That's a gift from nature, gift from God. So either you focus on what am I needing right now, or if you don't focus on that, you are already in the state of blaming. You see? So here, when we move away from blame, which is I focus on my needs, then what happens is I cannot blame. I start getting into Sattva. The moment I get into Sattva, only then all that we hear in Bhagavatam, Ramayana will start really making sense. You can start really enjoying that because you will get a space in your heart to enjoy higher things in life totally. Only when you don't fritter away that energy and vitality on trivial stuff like trying to blame or trying to be bitter or trying to have resentment, etc. So that is the reason why we need to start processing our needs and feelings more and cut out this blaming. And blame